Hello and welcome back to the PL Pyramid. Bit of a midweek treat with some knockout cup action. We're actually at a weird quarter-final stage, even though they call it the third round because it's split into north and south, as you can see. But it's the Bristol Street Motors, or for legal reasons, EFL trophy. 4 games, all live, plus an extra NLP game as well, and then a couple of other NLP scores to go through as well. I've had a bit of time to do a bit of research, so I'm going to bombard you with stats over the course of these 5 games. I'm actually going to start down in the National League Prem. There's 3 of the draft sides in action in the league today. LuTom, Gourlayverpool and Marshyside Red as well. All of them still playing catch up to OTB Craig, although that job was made slightly easier at the weekend with Craig Trudgell's first loss of the season. I think that's 1 loss in 23 in the league. You'd think that would put him miles and miles ahead, but Marshy is still within touching distance. He's away at Middlesbrough's 2024 team later. And I was about to kick off by the stat deluge, as promised, by saying how unlikely a LuTom loss would be today. So we can't call that a commentator's curse, because they beat me to it. The reason it's so unlikely is that Sheff Utd C have actually only won 2 of their last 10 in all competitions, while Tom Netcruise's lads have only lost 2 of their last 10. Puts him second in the form table over the last 5 games in the whole league, just behind Bournemouth B, so he's the best of all the drafters over that sort of 5-game period. He's still active in the FA Cup as well. Made it to the 4th round draw after a 2-2 tie against Aston Villa B. He'll have that replay soon. And he's already played Sheffield United C once this season, right at the very beginning of the year. A 3-1 win. So especially now that he's levelled the score here, you'd think it would be another 3 points, but we have had some weird results in the National League Prem recently. Everyone dropping points at one stage or another. Nottingham Giant Forest and OTB Craig falling foul at the weekend, both at home to non-drafted sides. Well, it's not going to be 3-1 again. I'll actually share the FA Cup 4th round draw at the end of this highlights reel, because why not? It's a hell of a lot of draws in the 3rd round, so there'll be a lot of and or in that draw. I think about 10 games at least going to replays. lesser seen Mitrovic. I really thought when he picked him up in the draft, no, he actually was an acquisition from Danielsea Y. So he's already active for a pretty handy League Two side, but he's barely played. Can't get in above Alvarez or Rosler. Or this man. Or that man. It's Chiesa's third goal against Sheff Utd C this season. Scored in that 3-1 home win at the beginning of the year. 2 today. Was it 2 today? It's just the 1 today. So it's his second against Sheff C. But a comfortable win in the end. A 7-2 aggregate over the course of the year, not too bad. And continues his strong form. So all the rest of the games now will be EFL Trophy regional quarterfinals, if you want to call it that. And straight away you can see a debut there for Matt Doherty, who Connor picked up in the first waiver window round, the second one being announced on Friday. Second of 5 across the course of January. The other thing that immediately jumps out is the appearance of Nicky Weaver in goal for the away side. As part of my stat wave, I was going to say that Julio Cesar is injured today, but I kind of expected Rob Green to keep his place between the sticks. Meanwhile, Kenny Dalglish has moved away from his 4-4-2 for the home team. Moved away from Shearer and Fowler and just stuck Adebayor up top on his own. These two have already played each other twice this year. Calv coming out on top both times. 1-0 in the league, 2-0 in the FA Cup. But Connor is the reigning EFL Trophy champion. If that means absolutely anything in front of a very sparse Carrow Road. In truth, it would actually be quite difficult to pick a winner on form. Both very inconsistent across the Christmas break. I say break, it's not a break at all. Connor 1-2, lost 3 of the last 5. Dan with a 1-2-2 record. Quite a bit of rotation noted straight away. I'm not sure if it'll be the same across the other 3. Obviously this being no one's priority, I doubt. You see the likes of Stefan Onsho, James Justin, Emre Can, the goal scorer, Babayaro, Basong, Doherty making his debut, as I said. None of these you'd expect to play much in the league, or haven't been playing much in the league. Certainly not Nicky Weaver, who's been flapping around for most of these 70 minutes. Bless him. Calv got rid of Tony Cotton at the start of the year, who would have probably been ahead of Weaver in the pecking order. Another interesting name now on is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who Calv put on the transfer list at the beginning of this window. I think I said the other day I'd be surprised if he's not snapped up by the end of it. Not entirely sure what Dan would be looking for in return, whether it's just a massive transfer fee or some high-profile swaps. But I'd imagine Jimmy's about to be stepping up to one of these penalties. Let's find out if Nicky Weaver's a better goalkeeper than Jordan Pickford. Would make sense that after slating him throughout the game, he turns out to be the hero. I do normally get things wrong. This could be a long afternoon. Wayne Bridge, another hot prospect on the database. Barely seen him. Thought he'd be a mainstay, along with Babayaro, actually. Two very young left-backs, sought after, both dispatching with ease. You'd think that as we go into Season 3, they'll be guaranteed starters by that point. Victor, what can you do? Score. Goodness me, I'm going to put the kettle back on. Can you make a substitute of goalkeepers during a penalty shootout? Or Calvin Phillips, can you release us? Oh my goodness. About as strong a penalty as you'd expect from him. The reigning champion advances. Well done, Connor. Another packed stadium there. Why they've packed them all into one tiny corner. Either that or the Southampton C ultras have made the journey. None of the Cheshampton faithful could be asked for what is, in theory, a Southampton derby. Not sure how that translates into the game, but let's call it that. And it's an early lead for Southampton C, scored by their captain. Brad Friedel with a Nicky Weaver flap. Again, spotted a couple of Cheshampton players that wouldn't normally be seen in the league. Namely Riera out on the left and Luis Sahara in the middle. Probably unlucky not to get more game time than he does. What a quality player he was. And Brad Friedel himself, actually. It's usually Van der Sar between the sticks. I mean, obviously, Chesh being a drafted side, would expect to win this game, but technically Southampton C are in the league above, currently in League One with 4 of us drafters, but down in 16th, changed their manager earlier in the season and brought in Big Sam Allardyce. Despite that, they still only won 2 of their last 10 games, so this would be one hell of a shock if they held on to it. Chesh, meanwhile, had a fantastic November, taking him to within the top 2 at one point of League 2, but he has dropped down ever since, and he's only won 2 of his last 5. And he's 2 down here. It's been a bit unlucky with injuries. Lasso out, João Felix out, Robinho out. And most recently, Wayne Rooney breaking an ankle in his most recent game. He's going to be out for about 2 or 3 months. He's also got this weird record where he's unbeaten at home all season in League Two, but has only won 5 out of 11, has 6 draws at home. Get the suspicion he'd take a draw at this point. Holy moly, this could be 3. Oh, Prutton. Rumour has it he's presenting this coverage as well. Rush into the media box at half time to talk about that fantastic penalty. I've talked about sort of insecure job security amongst the drafter managers. If ever there was a game to put someone in immediate trouble, you'd think this would be it. I don't think that's how FM works, but at the moment it is still Ruben Amorim of Manchester staff, the only manager who's under pressure. But 3-0 loss at home to an inferior side. That's why Sahar doesn't get game time, it seems. This would be a very bizarre result. Oh, Prutton, what have you done? Giving himself more to talk about at full time. Get the ball. Time running out. Actually, not really making that much of an impression on the stats board. Need a goal here to set up a grandstand finish. Oh, classic Cahill, unlucky. And it really looks like Cheshire's input into this competition done and dusted. All the rest of the drafters are going to be desperate for a regional semi-final against Southampton C. It will be interesting to see if Ange is put under any pressure from what is now a rout. Also interesting to see if this sparks Chesh into any transfer window activity this January, because this has been terrible. Arguably the tie of the round, this one. League 1 against League 2. Despite being, you'd think, the 4 better teams amongst the 28, only Levi's made it to this stage of the EFL trophy. All of the other 3, Foyverton, Ellister and Thomas, have departed already. So, I mean, I guess that makes FullofStrangeham favourites. But they will need to overcome a Bustin Villa very much thriving off the back of a away FA Cup win against myself at the weekend. Should be 2 huge cup wins consecutively if he can pull it off. It is a tall order though. Levi's only lost 2 home games all season. One coming against fellow drafter Thomas and one really random one at home to Bradford a couple of weeks ago. But he's made the better start here. He's actually gone with a very strong lineup. There was a slight chance I'd have thought FM might have construed this as playing a lower league opposition. But actually that's about as strong a team as he could put out. Maybe an unusual centre-back pairing, but that's about it. Levi Colwill getting a random game because John Terry's actually injured for the next couple of weeks. He could have done without that for Paul. But that is his only injury going into this game. Levi, meanwhile, is struggling a bit. He's got Paulo Freire, David Sanson and Jacob Ramsey all definitely out. And I was checking beforehand, and Bruno Guimaraes and Ndombele and Nkunku and Darwin Núñez were all late fitness tests, and I can't see any of them out there. Which is even more impressive that his lineup looks as strong as it does. Levi being Levi, though, I'm sure he'll still try and get himself involved in the waiver wire. Can't resist, can't help himself. One notable absence actually for Bustin Villa is Frank Lampard in the middle. Pretty sizable loss at any time. That must just be a selection decision, maybe fitness. With Fabinho in the middle next to Petit. And that might be the difference between this half, because he's not played badly. Levi has welcomed back Alisson from injury in recent weeks, but that is one rotation decision today, obviously, is bringing Nick Pope in for the Cup. Who served him well, to be fair, while Alisson is nursing a pretty horrendous injury. Game on, though. Abraham in for Mark Hughes today, and bagging. So Hoopier only came off the bench at half time, immediately getting dominated by Tammy Abraham there. He doesn't want a cold Tuesday night in southwest London, but who does? Another lesser seen player there in Morgan Rogers. Oh, even lesser seen, Steve Stone's on. That head is going to be cold. If ever you could forgive a player wearing a beanie, it's that man. What a strike. Or this man, Mark Wright and Frank LeBoeuf. LeBoeuf's forehead's got frostbite. Bring on the next baldy. Fantastic names coming off the bench at the moment. Juan Pablo Angel and Marian Pajas seeing out the final 10 minutes here. And Gallas seeing off Bustin Villa. It's been a strong second half fight back. Levi striving to make Wembley for a second time after his playoff victory in League Two last season. See if they can take more than the 30 people that seem to be watching at Craven Cottage here. He'll presumably be hoping for a draw against Southampton C in the next round. Connorwich, obviously another option. No, sorry, they'll be in the north. It's a nightmare trying to work all this out. Definitely one option would be the winner of AFZ Wimbledon and White Hart Chamberlain, who play, I think it's next Wednesday. So a few of these cup ties dragged out over the next week and a half or so. Wyman's playing at the weekend. Foyster's playing the week after that. So actually the other placing in the south is the next game coming up, which is the Sky Lews against Danielsea. Decent effort from Bustin's boys here. Levi's lads, too strong. Well done, mate. Here is that final game from today, which will determine the third of 4 semi-finalists for the south side of the EFL trophy. Fuck, this tournament's just a nightmare, isn't it? Just stick everybody in. Just having a quick scan of the teams to see if there's any fun names in rotation. Phil Babb, obviously, the immediate one that sticks out. Along, I think, with Michael Dewberry for the away team. Di Matteo, always a pleasure to see him. It's another game for the Baldies, with Ron Villar partnering him at the back. Actually, Ollie Watkins has barely played for Dan Gregory's side. Looks like he's been stuck out onto the right wing today. That may well be because of the loss of Pedro, who normally gets the nod over on that side. He joins a growing injury list that also includes Glenn McGrath, Jose Bosingua, and the suspended Azpilicueta. Louis' only lost players are Pau Torres, who's injured. Also, I have no idea why, but Rui Patricio's on leave. I have no idea why. Either can't settle in Coventry, or maybe he's having a baby or something. Considering that Brad Guzan's been put on the transfer list, that really does secure David Seaman's position in goal. There are no other options. Great celebration. These two do have a bit of history. Last year they were competing for the final playoff spot on the final day of the season in League Two. Danielsea came out on top on that occasion, with Louis having to settle for the first also ran. But this year they've both been struggling a little bit. It's hard to tell how much Louis has been struggling because he's played so many European games. He's got 1 billion games in hand. He's only 3 behind Danielsea, but has 7 in hand. So it's possible he's having a good season, we just don't know it yet. This is the first time they've played this season, though. I was looking at their fixture list, presuming that they at least played each other once. But both their games against each other come in the final 5 games of the season. So they're going to have to wait until April to meet again. I'd say it's unlikely to have a playoff place on the line again like it was last year, but you never know. Riding their luck. It seemed like an unnecessary raft of substitutes when already 1-0 up against the run of play away against a better side than you. I know FM that's going to punish that. Samuel Smith at left back isn't even on the PLP database. Must be some youthy or regen. Okazaki completes the 5 subs before the 70th minute. It's 2 though. What a hit. Louis, who does have pedigree in the cups. He won the Carabao Cup last year. Going well in the Europa Conference League at the moment, but staring down the barrel in the EFL trophy in front of another bumper crowd of 12. Another unheard of coming on for Danielsea there as well. Pep Guardiola trying to prove a point that nobody can work out. Says as one of them clears off the line. So after this game I'll go back up to the National League Prem and dissect the other 2 drafted teams' scores. Have a quick look at that table and then we will go to the FA Cup 4th round draw. This is much more like the Danielsea of last year though. Could this be a platform for their season to finally start? Huge result. Bless Dan, he's promised to cook me a paella on Friday, so hopefully now he won't spit in it. It's been a pretty turgid season up to this point. Well done, Dan. Louis' truncated start to the season continues. Don't know if Craig just saw that Barcelona have captured Juan Mata. Fear not, I will make sure that doesn't stick. Still haven't finished those games. Let's go ahead. Wow, starting off with a very unexpected result. Gourlay following Messrs Daniels and Trudgill with a home loss in the National League Prem. Absolutely dominated Southampton D and ended up losing 2-1. Doing nothing for his waning automatic hopes. A good result for Marshy's automatic hopes though. A 2-1 win. Son Heung-min popping up with a late winner. Keeps doing this. Grinding out results. And that puts him to within 8, but still got a game in hand on OTB Craig. So could get it down to 5, at which point these final 18 games could be very interesting. Like I said, there's only one that go up automatically. That playoffs situation, presuming Manchester staff can actually get back into it, could be very exciting next summer. So I'm going to go now to see the FA Cup 4th round draw. Don't need to write that in. So Gourlayverpool, who have just lost, home tie against Tottenham B or Swansea A. You can see the amount of replays required. Louis, if he can overcome Oldham, will have to play better than today, but Charlton await. Cheshampton, home draw against Portsmouth. Again, we'll need to play better than today. The Tractor Bulge, going well in the Cups this year, at home to Sunderland A. Aston Villa, another home team. They'll go up against Liverpool C. Marshyside, if they can overcome their replay. They've got Watford A at home. Lawrence's White Hart Chamberlain, also at home. Reading or Chelsea B will visit. Jazz the Rovers, really unlucky to be the first away side, and will probably be playing another drafter in the form of LuTom if he can overcome Aston Villa B. Thomas and the Red Wall, if they can overcome their replays, they'll face each other. Danielsea, opportunity for another cup run. He's got a home tie against Sheff Utd A or Bolton A. Dan City Cal, also at home, either Wigan A or Chelsea C will visit. And then finally, Leicester City, you'd expect them to beat Nottingham Forest A in the replay. They'll travel to either Hull or Leeds B. Deep breath. See if there's any sackings. Nothing that concerns us. That's everything for today. Back tomorrow with I think 2 or 3 rogue games across League 1 and League 2. And then you'll be free from me until the weekend when it's full fixture list of League 1, League 2 and FA Trophy games for the National League Prem teams. See you then.